Hello friends. Now in this session, we are going to discuss about the environment management topic. Under this environment management, we are going to discuss about one of the act which is covered under the Environment Protection Act 1986. The act is the Public Liability Insurance Act 1991. The name itself suggests that it is related to the public and not directly to the workman or the workers. And the insurance provision to the public or for the public for some victims or due to some incident or accidents. So this is related to the Public Liability Insurance Act, which is came into exist from 1991. So the act applies to all owners associated with the production or handling of any hazardous chemicals. So it is specifically related to the hazardous chemicals to provide immediate relief to victims and persons other than workmen affected by the accidents occurring while handling hazardous substances through the insurance amount paid by the owner of the hazardous substance. So coverage insurance covers claims by community members who have suffered injury or property damage in connection with the business. So coverage insurance covers a person or company in the event of an accident at their company. So it is clearly indicates that it is purely related to the hazardous chemicals, hazardous substance handling, storage or manufacturing, etc. And how or why it come into exist from 1991. The main relation is with the Bhopal gas tragedy. So we all know the Bhopal gas tragedy, which happened on December 3, 1984. And due to this Bhopal gas tragedy, more than 3,000 people died in this tragedy, and thousands of people were physically injured and affected in various forms. And from that point of view, if any hazardous chemical or hazardous substance or that particular company who is handling these types of hazardous chemicals and substances, if any accident is occur, then who is going to pay the medical expenses or any liability or a particular amount to the public other than workman? So other than workman is important. So who is going to pay that amount to the public due to this accident? So from that point of view, this law come into exist from 1991. So collector is the main concern who is going to handle all these activities, and central government is the apex body who is going to give the directions. So let us discuss what exactly the Public Liability Insurance Act contains are. The section 1 of this act is short title and commencement. That is, this act may be called the Public Liability Insurance Act 1991, and it shall come into force on such date as the central government may be by notification appoint. There are different definitions involved under this act, like accident. So we know the meaning of accident, but now it is related to the hazardous chemical and hazardous substance only. So it is an accident involving a fortuitous, sudden or unintentional occurrence while handling any hazardous substance. So resulting in continuous, intermittent or repeated exposure to death of or injury to any person or damage to any property, but does not include an accident by reason only of war or radioactivity. So any incident or accident which may result into the damage of property or injury to the person or the fatality of the person when the persons or the company is handling the hazardous substances, that is called as accident. Collector, the normal meaning of collector, we know that collector is having jurisdiction that is over the area, a particular area in which the accident occurs. Suppose nearby Nasik, if the accident is happened, then Nasik district collector is the person who is going to handle all these things. Then handling. So handling is nothing but the hazardous substance handling. So that may be a manufacturing, that may be a processing, that may be a treatment, that may be a packaging, that may be a storing, that may be a transportation by vehicles, that may be a uses, that may be a collection, destruction, conversion, selling, transference, etc. So each and every activity which is related to that hazardous substance is called as handling. Then hazardous substance, we all know, which is clearly defined under the Environment Protection Act 1986. Then the insurance means insurance against liability. Then notification, which is a published document, which is published in the official gazette. Then owner. Now in this case, the owner means who has control or owns the handling activity of these hazardous substances. So at the time of accident, which includes in the case of firm, any of its partner, in the case of association, any of its members, and in the case of or a company, any of its directors, managers, secretaries, or other officers who is directly in charge of its or is responsible to that company for the conduct of this business of the company. So depending on the type of firm, type of company, the owner can be defined. Then prescribed means prescribed by the rules under this act. Relief fund means the environmental relief fund, so which is covered under the section 7A of this act and which is given by the central government. Then rules means rules under made under this act. Then vehicle means any mode of surface transport other than the railways. So these are the different definitions which are involved under the section 2 of this act. Then section 3 is related to the liability to give relief in certain cases on principle of no fault. So where death or injury to any person is happen other than the workman, that is to the public, or if anything is happen which is called as damage to the property due to the accident while handling these hazardous substances, then the owner shall be liable to give such relief as it is specified in the schedule. So depending on the guidelines which is given in the under this schedule, whether it is fatality, whether it is injury to the person, whether it is disability, that may be a partial disability, that may be a total disability, that may be a temporary disability, that may be a permanent disability, or that may be a damage to the property. So depending on the condition, the owner shall be liable to give such relief to the persons, to the public other than the workmen. In any claim of this subsection, the claimant shall not be required to plead and establish that the death, injury, or damage in respect of which the claim has been made was due to any wrongful act, neglect, or default of any person. So that is the condition. Then workmen, we already know about this definition, that is from the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923. We also know about the injury definition, which may be a permanent, total, or permanent partial disability or the sickness resulting out of an accident. So these are the terminologies which is involved under this section. Then section 4 is related to the liability of owner to take out insurance policies. So the owner, which is clearly defined under this previous section, so that may be a owner, that may be a partner, that may be a director, that may be a manager, whatever it may be, shall go for the insurance policies against for these accidents to pay the liability to the public, and that should be done within a period of 1 year. So the insurance should be purchased and after that insurance, normally the 1 year period is there, and then the owner should renew this insurance after 1 year or before the expiry of that period of validity. So no insurance policy taken out by the owner shall be for amount less than amount of the paid up capital of the undertaking handling any hazardous substance. So normally the maximum limit for this insurance amount is 50 crore rupees. So the owner should go for the insurance amount less than 50 crore. Then the section 5 is related to the verification and publication of accident by the collector. So we already discussed that collector is the main authority who is going to handle all these things, and that is why collector is going to verify all the documents which is related to this act. So after verification, collector is going to publish the details of an accident, and then he is going to handle this case and will give the funds to the person that is nothing but the victim of an accident. Then section 6 is related to the application for claim for relief. So the person who is a victim, who is injured due to this accident which has happened due to the hazardous substance, may go for the application and can claim a particular amount for relief by the owner of the property to which the damage has been caused, or where the death has resulted from the accident, or any of the legal representatives of the deceased. So if any fatalities happen, then the representative of that person who died can claim the particular amount to the owner by any agent duly authorized by such person or owner. So agent may be there if the representatives of the persons are not knowing much more about these types of acts and the legal procedures, etc. Then the authorized agent can also claim a particular amount for representing that person. Then every applications shall be made to the collector and shall be in such form, contain such particulars, and shall be accompanied by such documents as may be prescribed. We have to give all the details, where you are living, what are the documented proof, then residential proofs, your identity cards, then what exactly happened in that accident, then what is the distance between this hazardous substance factory and your residence, and how it happens, when it happens, and what are the adverse impact on your family members, on your property, etc. So each and every document can be verified by the collector. No application for relief shall be entertained unless it is made within 5 years of the occurrence of the accident. Then section 7 is related to the award of relief. So after the receiving of the application by the collector shall, after giving a notice of the application to the owner, and after giving the parties an opportunity of being heard, hold an inquiry into the claim or each of he claims, and may make an award determining the amount of relief. So after receiving the application, collector may ask the details to the owner as well as to the person or victim, and after listening all the discussion, after inquiring all the persons related to that accident, collector can decide or determine the amount of relief, and then he asks to the owner that this amount should be given to that victim or that person. So the copy of the same document should be given to the owner within 15 days period, and then the insurer who is required to pay the amount in terms of such award and to the extent specified under the subsection 2B of section 4 within a period of 30 days. So after giving these details or determine amount of relief, within 30 days, the insurer should give that amount to that person or the victim. Then the collector shall arrange to pay from the relief fund. That is another provision which is covered under the section 7A, which is authorized by the central government. So there is a environmental relief fund. So collector can arrange a payment from the environmental relief fund with the prior permission of the central government, and they can pay the specific amount to that person. The collector shall have all the powers of civil court for the purpose of taking evidence on oath and enforcing the attendance of witnesses and of compelling the discovery and production of documents and material objects and for such other purposes as may be prescribed. And the collector shall be deemed to be a civil court for all the purposes of the section 195 and chapter 26 of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. So collector is the main authority who is going to handle all these documental process, all the verification process, all the interviews and the witnesses, attendance, etc., like a civil court. So all the powers of civil court is given to the collector for handling these types of cases. Where the insurer or the owner against whom the award is made under this subsection fails to deposit the amount in a particular period, then the claim can be again gone to the owner, and a claim for relief in respect of death or injury or person to the damage or property damage expeditiously as possible, and every endeavor shall be made to dispose of such claim within 3 months. So before that, initially they have mentioned that 30 days period is given to pay this fund. If it is not the case, then they can again give the chance to award of relief within the 3 months. Then section 7A is related to the establishment of environmental relief fund. So we have already discussed that central government by the notification of official gazettes established a fund to be known as environmental relief fund. So that shall be utilized for paying in accordance with the provisions of this act and the scheme relief under the award made by the collector under section 7. So the central government is authority to give or relief the fund or specific amount to the person through this environmental relief fund. Then section related to the provisions as to other right to claim compensation for death, etc. So the right to claim relief under the subsection 1 of section 3 in respect of death, injury, or any person damage to the property shall be in addition to any other right to claim compensation in respect thereof under any other law for the time being in force. So you can go for the compensation or the claim compensation with reference to other laws also. If it is a valid claim, then again the collector can pay that particular amount as an award to relief to that person. So depending on the case, depending on the conditions, and with reference to the study of all the other laws, which is the reference which is given by that person or the victim should be studied first, and then collector can give the decision related to that. Then section 9 is related to the power to call for information. So if central government or the representatives of the central government wants to take some information, wants to gain some information from the owner, and if the information which is asked by that person should be submitted to that person only. So after requirement of the information from the person, then the central government or the representative of the central government can ask to the owner to give or submit the information which is needed by that person, and then they can think about that which type of information should be given to the person or victim. Then section 10 is related to the power of entry and inspection. So as we know that at any place in premises or where the vehicles which are handling the hazardous substances, the central government representatives or the collector and collector representatives can visit to any place or any vehicle to check whether all the sections or the rules are followed by that owner or not. So owner is bound to render all the assistance to such persons. So whatever the documents, information, if that central government representative wants, then each and everything should be submitted by that owner. Then section 11 is related to the power of search and seizure. So if such places or premises or the vehicles where the handling of hazardous substance is going on, then the central government representative have the power to search all these places, and if it needed, then they can go for the seizure of these vehicles or the places or the premises also. So without any permissions of that persons, they can go for this process for the searching or for the seizure. He may, if he has reason to believe that it is expedient so to do to prevent an accident, dispose of the hazardous substance, then they can go for these types of actions. So if you think that due to this activity, due to this storage, due to this unsafe act or condition, there may be a chance of a major accident due to this hazardous substance, then he or she who is representative of the central government can go for the actions like searching operations and seizure. So all expenses incurred by him in the disposal of hazardous substance under this subsection 3 shall be recoverable from the owner as areas of land revenue of the or of the public demand. So all the expenses which is incurred by the him in the disposal of this hazardous substance should be recovered from the owner itself. Then section 12 is related to the power to give directions. So there may be provisions related to these directions like prohibition or regulation of the handling of any hazardous substance, or stoppage or regulation of the supply of electricity, water, or any other services which is covered or controlled by the government. So if anything is happen, or if any doubt is there, if any misguidance or any other wrong practices are observed by the central government representative, then they can stop the supply of electricity, water, or other services. Then section 13 is related to the power to make applications to courts for restraining owner from handling hazardous substances. So depending on the conditions, again, the collector is having the power and the representative of the central government is having the power to stop the utilizations of these hazardous substances or stop the handling processes of these hazardous substances. So that may be a manufacturing, that may be a packaging, that may be a labeling, whatever it may be. So all these things which is called as handling of this hazardous substance can be stopped by the central government representative. So the person may make an application to a court not inferior to that of metropolitan magistrate or a judicial magistrate first class for restraining such owner from such handling. So the person who wants to go for the objection related to this hazardous substance handling process or the hazards presence under this handling process, then they can go for the application to the particular authority like metropolitan magistrate or judicial magistrate. Then after receiving this application by that person, the court may make such order as it deems fit. And court may make an order for restraining any owner from handling hazardous substance. So it may, in that order, gives us some of the directions like direct such owner to desist from such handling. Means owner now have to stop the handling of the hazardous substances. Then they can also direct in that order that authorize the central government, or as the case may be, the person referred to in the subsection. If the direction under clause A is not compiled with by the owner to whom such direction is issued, to implement the direction in such manner as may be specified by the code. Then all expenses which is incurred by the central government, or as the case may be, the person in implementing the directions of code under this clause B of subsection 3 shall be recoverable from the owner as areas of land revenue or of public demand. So all the expenses are recovered by the owner as land revenue or the public demand. So the persons or the government representative can take the objection regarding the handling of hazardous substances. Then section 14 is related to the penalty for contraventions of subsection 1 or subsection 2 of subsection 4 or failure to comply with the directions under section 12. So there may be a provisions related to the persons who are not going to comply the directions which is given by the central government or central government representative. So there is a provision for penalty or punishable imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 1 year and 6 months, but which may be extended to 6 years. So from 1.5 year up to 6 year, there may be a punishable imprisonment to the person who is not going to comply the directions which is given by the central government, or with fine or penalty which shall not be less than 1 lakh rupees, or in some cases both. Means the penalty or the fine of 1 lakh rupees plus the punishable imprisonment from 1.5 to 6 year, that may be the case if the owner is not going to comply or fails to comply the any directions which is given by the central government. If the offense is already there and second time the offense is there to the same owner, then he may be punishable under this section 40 subsection 2, that he shall not be punishable or imprisonment not less than the 2 years, but which may extend to 7 years. Now in the first offense, that is 1.5 to 6 years punishable imprisonment. Now for the second offense, it is from 2 years to 7 years. And in this case again, the same penalty or fine is there, that is not less than 1 lakh rupees. So only the case is that related to this Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, the age of the person should not be less than 18 years of age. Then section 15 is related to the penalty for failure to comply with the directions under section 9 or under section 11, or obstructing any person in discharge of his functions under section 10 or 11. So each and every section should be followed by that person, and all the directions should be followed by that person. If he shall be punishable with imprisonment which may extend to the 3 months, or with fine which may extend to 10,000 rupees, or with both. So if the person is not going to comply these directions which is given under the section 9 or 11 or 10 or 11, then the imprisonment punishable is up to 3 months or 10,000 or both. Then section 16 is related to the offenses by the companies. So if any offense is done by the company means that may be by the director, by the manager, secretary, or other officer of that company, such director, manager, secretary, or other officer shall also be deemed to be guilty of that offense and shall be liable to be proceeded against and punishable accordingly. So company means any body or corporate and includes a firm or other association of individual or director in relation to a firm, means a partner in that firm. So that is depend on the condition again, whether it is a partnership, whether it is ownership, whether it is a director body, etc. So depending on that, if any offense is done by the representatives of this company, then it is again a punishable offense. Then section 17 is related to the offenses by the government department. So sometimes it is also happen that offense is done by the government representatives also. So again, they are also punishable, that is the government representative with their norms. Then section 18 is related to the cognizance of offense. Now this is a particular act where no court shall take cognizance of any offense under this act except on a complaint made by the central government or any authority or officer authorized in this behalf by that government, or any person who has given notice of not less than 60 days in the manner prescribed of that alleged offense and of his attention to make a complaint to the central government or the authority or officer authorized as aforesaid. So generally it is not happen, but sometimes if the central government or the government authority or the representative is going to go for this cognizance of offense, then only that is accepted, otherwise it is not accepted. Then section 19 is related to the power to delegate. So that is it may be deemed necessary or expedient to any person, including any officer, authority, or other agency. So that is depend on the officer category or other things which is given by the central government representations. So they are going to delegate these powers. Then section 20 is related to the protection of action taken in good faith. So no suit, prosecution, or other legal proceedings shall lie against the government or the person, officer, authority, or other agency in respect of anything which is done or intended to be done in good faith in pursuance of this act or the rules made or under order or directions issued thereunder. So we have to focus on the intention, that is, which is the action taken under this good faith. So that should be followed by the owner as well as the peoples who are involved under this act. Then section 21 is related to the advisory committee. So obviously it is the central government committee, and central government is going to form this advisory committee, which consists of 3 officers representing the central government, 2 persons representing the insurer, 2 persons representing the owner, and 2 persons from amongst the experts of insurance or hazardous substances to be appointed by the central government. So the chairman of this advisory committee shall be one of the member representing the central government nominated in this behalf by the government. So these are the different members of this advisory committee who is going to give the guidance, directions, and advices to the collector as well as to the persons who are involved in handling these types of cases which are directly related to the hazardous substance handling accidents. Then section 22 is related to the effect of other law. So if any provision is there in other laws which may affect on to the persons or to the amount claimed by that person, etc., then that should be considered also. And then the collector is going to determine the actual amount of relief as a award. Then section 23 is related to the power to make rules. So central government, that is the apex body, who is going to have the authority to make the rules for the state, for the region, etc. So the maximum amount of which an insurance policy may be taken out by an owner under section 2A of section 4. The amount required to be paid by the every owner for being credited to the relief fund, then the manner in which and the period within the amount received from the owner is required to be remitted by the insurer, then establishment and maintenance of fund, then the form of application and the particulars to be given therein, and the documents to be to accompany such applications, and the procedure for holding an inquiry, etc., are the different points which are to be considered while making the rules by the central government. So the central government is having the power to make the rules, to make the modifications, to make the corrections in the rules. The purpose of which the collector shall have the powers of civil code, that is one of the point under this making of rules. Then the manner in which notices of the offenses and the intention to make the complaint to the central government, any other matter which is required to be or may be prescribed, and all the things which is said or unsaid, which is included or not included under this explanation can involve while making this rule, and all the authority is given to the central government or the central government representatives. So after the 23 sections of this act, this is the schedule, and the intention of this schedule is nothing but the amount which is nothing but award or the relief fund, which is to be calculated by the collector depending on the application by that person. So generally the guidelines are like reimbursement of medical expenses is up to maximum 12,500 rupees in each case. If the fatal accident is there, then due to the death of that person, 25,000 per person. And then in addition to reimbursement of the medical expenses, if any, incurred on the victim up to maximum 12,500. Then if the case is like permanent total or permanent partial disability, then or other injury or sickness, then the amount may be again the reimbursement of medical expenses up to 12,500 and cash relief on the basis of percentage of disablement. So disablement or disability, all these terminologies we have already discussed under one of the video, that is the accident and accident cases as per IS 3786. So disability or partial and total disability, permanent and temporary disability means that may be a case of injury to the one leg or maybe to the one hand. If it is one hand or one leg, then that may be a partial disability. If the one hand or one leg is not recoverable, then it is a permanent partial disability. If the recoverable hand injury or recoverable leg injury is there, then that is a temporary partial disability case. If both hands are involved, if both legs are involved, or if one hand and one leg is involved and which are not recoverable, then it is called as permanent total disability. And likewise, so there are different terminologies which are involved under this IS 3786. So all these terminologies should be studied first, and then they can go for the calculations for this maximum amount, that is reimbursement or relief fund. Then for loss of wages, due to temporary partial disability which reduces the earning capacity of that victim, there will be a fixed monthly relief not exceeding ₹1,000 per month up to maximum of 3 months. As it is a case of temporary partial disability, it means there is an injury to a particular hand or to a leg or to a particular body part, but it is a partial and it is a temporary, means it is a recoverable injury. So for a particular period, that particular part may be recovered. So normally the 1 month to 3 month period is sufficient to recover these body parts, and that is why fixed monthly relief 1,000 per month up to maximum 3 months is provided to that victim. Then up to ₹6,000 depending on the actual damage of any damage to private property. So if it is a property damage case, then they have to identify what exactly the damages happen. So depending on the case, maximum up to ₹6,000 can be given to the actual damage. So nowadays, depending on the authority and the calculations from the current expenses, the collector or the central government representatives can determine the different amounts. These are the guidelines which is given under this schedule in 1991. So this is all about for this Public Liability Insurance Act 1991. Thank you.